and welcome back to Vet Reviews with Doc Athena. Today, we are going to talk about common toxicities in dogs and cats. Let's proceed. Number 1. Chocolates.
Chocolate is poisonous to cats and dogs. It contains two different kinds of toxins called methylxanthines. One of these is caffeine, and the other is the less known but more dangerous theobromine. Dogs are particularly sensitive to caffeine. Symptoms occur with the ingestion of 85 milligrams per kilogram body weight. Theobromine deaths have been reported after ingestion of 100 milligram per kilogram body weight. Caffeine is toxic at about 130 milligram per kilogram body weight. It is important to note that unsweetened baking chocolate contains almost 7 times more theobromine than milk chocolate. Cooking chocolate is the most dangerous type, followed by dark chocolate and then milk chocolate. Cocoa powder is also very toxic. So what happens to the animal? Initially, chocolate tends to cause digestive upsets due to its high sugar and fat content. Hence, vomiting and diarrhea are often the initial symptoms. 6 to 12 hours later, the chemical starts acting. Because of its diuretic effect, the pet may experience polyuria, polydipsia, or PUPD. Pets often become agitated and start pacing. This may progress to walking abnormally, hyperactivity, restlessness, convulsions, tremors, and arrhythmias in severe cases. These signs can last for up to 3 days. If untreated, it can be fatal to the pet, with the heart or breathing giving out. Any cases of suspected chocolate toxicity should be immediately reported to your vet. Prompt treatment will mean a much better prognosis for recovery. Treatment includes intravenous fluids to prevent dehydration and induce urine production. Symptomatic treatment is given for tachycardia, hyperthermia, and seizures. Urinary catheterization may be necessary as well to prevent reabsorption of the toxin.
Number 2. Onion.
Onions can be deadly to cats and dogs, but cats are more sensitive. The toxic doses reported vary greatly, but as little as 2 slices a week can cause clinical signs. Toxicity varies with the type and amount ingested. Fresh, dried, raw, cooked, or crushed onions have all been shown to be potentially toxic. They contain thiosulfate, a toxic substance poisonous to both cats and dogs. The toxic component is contained in the bulbs and stems of these plants and remains in even processed forms, such as powders. Therefore, it is strongly advised to avoid all sources of this for the best health of your pet. Onions, garlic, chives, and leeks or allium species all contain sulfoxide and disulfide compounds. These compounds can cause oxidative damage to erythrocyte membranes, leading to methemoglobin and Heinz body anemia. Red blood cells or RBC burst throughout the body when this food is ingested. Because RBCs are responsible for transporting oxygen all over the body, the pet becomes weak and breathless, tiring easily. The red pigment from the burst blood cells appears in the urine, called hemoglobinuria, and can be easily confused with urinary tract problem. Digestive upsets normally precede respiratory problems and discolored urine by a day or two. As such, signs include vomiting, diarrhea, anemia, discolored urine, weakness, liver damage, allergic reactions, asthmatic attacks, and in case of skin exposure, contact dermatitis. If dermal exposure has occurred, the animal should be bathed and dried thoroughly. Aggressive use of IV fluids and blood transfusions should be considered. Also, vitamin E may help to stabilize membrane architecture.
Number 3. Salt.
Just like in humans, when pets consume too much salt, they may experience excessive thirst and urination, as well as sodium ion poisoning. Dogs and cats need to ingest large amounts to observe clinical signs. Symptoms of ingesting a large amount of salt include depression, diarrhea, hyperthermia or elevated body temperature, seizures, vomiting, tremors, coma, and even death. Mainly electrolyte abnormalities seen is hypernatremia. As little as 1.5 grams per kilogram can cause clinical signs. Seizures usually occur when blood sodium levels are greater than 180 MEq per liter. Treatment involves gastric lavage and IV fluids with 0.45% sodium chloride and 2.5% dextrose. Play dough also causes salt toxicity.
Number 4. Grapes.
Grapes, raisins, sultanas, and currants contain a toxin that can induce severe liver damage and kidney failure in dogs. It doesn't take eating many for dogs to become seriously ill. Vomiting, diarrhea, excessive thirst, frequent urination, tiredness, abdominal discomfort, tremors, and seizures are all signs of poisoning. By the time clinical symptoms appear, the pet is already suffering from renal failure. This renal failure does not develop in all dogs that ingest grapes or raisins, but precautionary measures such as inducing emesis, administration of activated charcoal, and initiating fluid diuresis should be considered. The prognosis for recovery is fair to good. The renal injury appears to be fully reversible, and survival is primarily dependent on the availability of adequate medical support. However, severe ingestions can be fatal. The signs can commence from 24 hours after eating the fruit and can last for weeks. If the kidney damage is severe enough to halt the production of urine, this snack can be fatal. If aggressive medical therapy is started early, treatment can be successful. So, contacting your veterinarian as soon as possible if you notice a pet has eaten these fruits is imperative. There are now several reports of dogs developing acute renal failure after ingesting grapes or raisins. The toxic substance in this fruit is presently unknown, but it is thought to be due to an unknown compound in the fleshy part of the grape. There had been no problems reported with grape seed extract. The toxic dose is not known, but signs have been reported with as little as 14 grams grapes per kilogram body weight and 4 grams raisins per kilogram body weight. But most reports include large quantities of grapes and raisins. Currently, the consensus is 40 grams of fresh grapes or 120 grams sultanas or 60 grams raisins is toxic for a 20 kilogram animal.
Number 5. Marijuana.
The minimum toxic dose is 3 mg per kilogram for dogs, or 50 to 100 mg per kilogram of weight of the plant. No mortalities have been reported, but morbidity is 100%. Onset of clinical signs could be within 1 to 3 hours. is rapid after ingestion or inhalation of the drugs. Clinical signs include weakness, lethargy, ataxia, dilated pupils, nystagmus, and photophobia. Some pets also seem to be hyperesthetic with aggression and barking. One study showed that 60% of cases present with depression and only 5% with excitement and less than 1% with aggression. Treatment is supportive, such as emetics and administration of adsorbents such as activated charcoal. In some cases, diazepam can be given if the animal is very agitated. Recovery occurs within 24 to 72 hours.
Number 6. Citrus.
Citric acid is present in all parts of citrus fruits, such as fruit, peel, seeds, leaves, and stems, which can be harmful to dogs and cats. Your pet should only experience minor symptoms if a small amount is eaten. However, when a large quantity is ingested, it may cause nausea and vomiting. Lemons, limes, oranges, and grapefruits are all citrus fruits to keep away from your pet. Because of this, citric acid causes hyperacidity. Also, for tomato, the stems and leaves contain oxalates, which can cause bladder stones and acute renal failure. The fruit itself is not culprit. However, high amounts of vitamin C can cause gastrointestinal distress. Clinical signs include anorexia, vomiting, PUPD or polyuria polydipsia, and lethargy. For grapefruit, sensitivity to light has been observed also. Treatment is supportive and includes aggressive IV fluid therapy.
Number 7. Avocado.
Certain varieties of avocado contain a toxin called persine. The persine in avocado leaves and the skin is toxic to animals, especially birds. While cats and dogs aren't as sensitive as other animals, it is still something to be aware of. Also, high fat in avocados can contribute to pancreatitis in dogs. Leaves are considered the most toxic, causing myocardial degeneration. It can also cause sterile mastitis in lactating animals. In dogs, the most common problem is gastric obstruction from the seed.
Number 8. Garlic.
Garlic and chives, when eaten in small amounts, should not cause any issues. However, if ingested in large quantities, they can cause gastrointestinal irritation and red blood cell damage.
Number 9. Alcohol.
Alcoholic beverages can be harmful to our pets if consumed in a large enough amount, causing vomiting, diarrhea, impaired coordination, difficulties in breathing, and tremors. Animals will drink a variety of alcohols. They may also ingest unbaked bread dough, which is also a source of alcohol.
Number 10. Cow's milk.
As our cats and dogs are lactose intolerant, avoid giving them cow's milk. Milk-based products can induce diarrhea, constipation, and digestive upset. 50% of dogs are lactose intolerant just like humans. They don't produce the enzyme lactase. Therefore, they are unable to break down lactose or milk sugar. Animals are often gassy, may have diarrhea, and abdominal discomfort. No treatment is usually necessary.
Number 11. Xylitol.
Xylitol is used in sugar-free products such as gum, mints, oral rinses, vitamins, and cooking oil, and is considered safe in humans. Xylitol is specifically popular in diabetics, as it does not require insulin to enter cells. Small amounts can be toxic to animals. Xylitol in dogs causes insulin release up to 6 times greater than an equal dose of glucose. Toxic dose has been shown to be as low as 0.1 gram per kilogram. A stick of gum has 0.3 grams and a cup of granulated xylitol has about 190 grams. Absorption is quick and clinical signs can be seen within 15 minutes after ingestion. Clinical signs are due to severe hypoglycemia. You may observe weakness, depression, tremors, incoordination, collapse, seizures up to 1 hour after ingestion. There can also be vomiting, diarrhea, yellowing of the skin and gums, blood in the feces, and pinpoint bleeding in the gums or skin. Bleeding can occur up to 72 hours after ingestion due to liver dysfunction. Acute liver toxicity has also been reported at doses as low as 0.5 milligram per kilogram. Treatment with dextrose-containing fluids is indicated. Activated charcoal does not reliably bind to xylitol. Therefore, liver protectants and antioxidants have also been used, such as N-acetylcysteine.
Number 12. Yeast dough.
If our pets consume raw yeast dough, it can continue to expand and cause gas to build up in their digestive system. Not only will this be unpleasant and painful for them, it can also induce their stomach to bloat and possibly twist, leading to GDV, or gastric dilatation volvulus. Yeast also produces ethanol, which is a type of alcohol and is toxic to dogs and cats. When bread dough is ingested, the animal's body heat causes the dough to rise in the stomach. Alcohol is produced during the rising process and the dough expands. Clinical signs include abdominal pain, bloating, ataxia, depression, and coma. Clinical signs should resolve without any treatment, but if a large amount was ingested, then intravenous fluids with dextrose will be necessary.
Number 13. Paracetamol.
Paracetamol or acetaminophen. Acetaminophen is a medication that is used to treat fever and or pain in humans. Unfortunately, acetaminophen toxicity in cats is very common as cat owners attempt to treat their cats for pain without first consulting with a veterinarian. Cats have a genetic deficiency in a metabolic pathway in the liver that breaks down medications, called the glucuronide conjugation pathway. This deficiency makes cats vulnerable to acetaminophen toxicity. Signs of toxicity from acetaminophen may develop within 1 to 4 hours of ingestion. These cats will experience progressive depression and they may develop rapid breathing. They may experience abdominal pain and nausea, causing drooling. There could also be cyanosis or bluish discoloration of the mucous membrane caused by a molecule called methemoglobin that interrupts the ability of the RBC to carry oxygen to the tissues of the body. Death as a result of methemoglobinemia occurs 18 to 36 hours after ingestion. Some cats will develop fluid buildup in their face, paws, and forelimbs several hours after ingesting acetaminophen. Some cats will develop fluid buildup in the face, paws, and forelimbs several hours after ingesting acetaminophen. The urine may become dark or even chocolate-colored from the presence of blood or methemoglobin. The presence of methemoglobin in the blood demands a prompt diagnosis, hospitalization, and aggressive care. Depending upon the timing of the acetaminophen ingestion, your veterinarian might induce flushing, cleaning, and giving antidote. If methemoglobin concentration reaches greater than 50%, the prognosis is grave.
Number 14. Antifreeze.
Antifreeze is found in radiators and is used both as coolant and for freezing. So, although seen more often in colder climates, toxicities can also occur in areas with warm weather. Ethylene glycol is sweet tasting. It is fatal. For cats, only a teaspoon is needed, whereas for dogs, a tablespoon is needed for it to be fatal. Clinical signs include vomiting, polyuria polydipsia or PUPD, anorexia, lethargy, coma, and seizures. Prognosis can be good if treated within 8 hours. Otherwise, it is guarded to poor. Treatment includes giving vodka intravenously. The dose depends on the alcohol content. Please consult your veterinarian.
So that's it for common toxicities in dogs and cats. I hope we remembered something from this vet review with Doc Athena. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon. God bless us all. Bye!